Alright, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah, and this is part 2. I'll say the sound's working, it's a little loud. This is part 2 of my Lantern 10 Showdown with the Phoenix. And you may see there's a little couple things that look different from the board last setup, and I will explain why. So between streams, I was looking into more the Age Eater, which all survivors have ability that they can spend 3 Age tokens to get a survival and lose brain damage. But I wasn't clear on when you can spend. And when I looked into it, it looks like KDM, how they use the spend, the ability to spend, is you could do it at any time unless it says so, but it just has to be in between an action. It has to be in between something happening. It can't interrupt something. So like if someone's doing an attack, it has to be after the attack and before a trigger. So it just can't interrupt something from happening, but it could be in between events happening. Kind of like consume. You could consume whenever, it doesn't say. The only things that they say that you can only do at a particular time is if it's a move action or it's a character action, meaning you see the lightning bolt or the knight chess piece symbol. Those can only happen at particular phases during the survivor's turn. And I looked into knockdown, and knockdown just says it just limits you on survival and you can't attack. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't say you can't consume and stuff. I mean, it doesn't say. And so what that means is anybody here that had 3 tokens before the monster did its basic action after the AI could have saved themselves because the monster has persistent injury time leak. So when it attempts to manipulate time, it can't manipulate time of these individuals because they're leaking time. Whereas this person didn't have enough age counters and did age. And so what I did is I reset these 3 people back to normal, as well as got rid of the 2 dark traits for when 2 people died. But I left the bonuses on Adam because he did age, because he only had 2 age tokens. But the people with 3 could have prevented it from happening. Now, other things that I found out, just so you know, because like I said, there's so much information in this game that not only is it sometimes hard to find, but it's also sometimes hard to remember because there's so much stuff. And it's one thing that's good and bad about the game. There's so much stuff. Is encourage, like I said, because it's a spending action, I can actually do it during the monster's turn. So when the monster immediately knocks down somebody, I could pick that person up before it's our turn. Why is that important? Because that means that person can be targeted again to prevent the monster from either capitalizing on someone knocked down or in this case, going back to Nightmare Train doing Spiral Age because there's no targets. Because if you're knocked down, you're not a threat. And it goes there if there's no threats. But that's just a learning thing. I remember going forward to do that. Another thing which I realized that I messed up on was Dreaded Decade. Dreaded Decade, yes, as an action, you can roll a d10 to see if you can remove the age tokens. True. But if you actually fail, you trigger Spiral Age, which is the bad ability he does when he goes to Nightmare Tree. Which means anybody that had low insanity that I attempted, I would have never attempted because it's too much of a penalty if you screw up. Fortunately, those people failed anyway. And you could say, well, then they should have died. But see, I would never have even done it. So the fact that they didn't do actions, I'll just say, they just didn't take actions for whatever reason. But yeah, so the only person that would have ever have attempted to remove Dread Decade was Oko because his insanity is so high, it would always complete. And so that was fine. And these people, it was technically fine because I would have never attempted anyway. It just meant that during that round, both of them didn't take an action other than moving. So, whatever. But yeah, as far as the soft lower guts, persistent injury, time walk, yeah, when he went back, he did this whole time thing, and that's sort of like thematically why, I'm saying I could do this, because, he manipulated time, and everyone was supposed to age, and these people started to age, but then it reversed. They started leaking time, so they went back to where they were. But Adam didn't have a leak, per se, and did super age. But the other three are actually back to normal as far as age. But this person did super age. So anyway, that's some of the things I overlooked or made a mistake on, or information I couldn't find, and was doing the best I can. But again, like what I found is from Time Leak, because for Time Eater it says it's a spend action. I could spend it once in between doing its two different behaviors. It's AI and it's basic action. And that time just leaks from these people. So thematically, it's like, hey, this guy did this. He did this spiral age time warp, which was starting to affect these three people, but didn't work. But did work on Adam. So that's how I'm going to play it. So technically, I have everybody up, but Adam now has some more stats and a new fighting art, but is only 2 hunts away from retiring. And obviously, if it gets hit by a spiral age again, will die, for sure. So if anything, you want him to get another spiral age and be targeted, so then you can instantly eat it. Do the age eater to eat the age tokens to get a survival, get a brain damage, and remove the tokens. Which is most likely what I'm going to try to do to avoid that situation. But in any case, that's what's happening, and that's the changes that you see here. But let's go ahead and get started. This is the top of the new round, and it's the Monsters Go. But yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on trying to get stuff right. I just that was so game breaking. As well, not game breaking, but session breaking for my team. That's like, okay, but like, try to get the mechanic as close as possible. And Thematica, it's like, oh, whoa, time stuff, we're aging, but now we're getting younger, and this person's getting older. And you saw earlier during the battles that whenever he had traps, he did time stop, which then froze time itself. So there's a lot of like weird time warping stuff happening. So thematically, the changes that I'm making are trying to, step back and correct, make sense as far as the story goes. Yeah, death is pretty crazy in this. Yep. Hello, Anacros TV. Thanks for viewing. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So now that we have these people back, Adam again is over here, who's super aged. These three were going to age and die, but I had come back. But these two are knocked down. But it is the monster's turn. And to reiterate, the monster does have only 2 AIs left, both of which I know what they are. So it has 3 hit points remaining. Alright, so let's do it. So next up is Peck. So last threat to wound in range. Again, like I had stated before, and I'll say this because it's a new video if you're just starting to view just this video now. My opinion is bad design because you're not forewarned ahead of time to keep track of who damaged the monster last. And it says go to last threat to wound it, and I don't know. Yeah, Necros TV, that was true, but if you're listening to the beginning of the session, I'd explained why I had brought those people back. It's chiefly because Age Eater, you can do a spend action at any time, meaning I could spend and eat 3 age tokens before it went back to Nightmare Tree to prevent 3 of the people from getting blasted by age. but Adam got blasted because he only had 2 age tokens. But yeah, so I don't know who the person who was last to wound. I could rewatch the video to do that. It was obviously either one of these two. I would, definitely, but I don't know who. So because I don't know who, I'll just say it's the person in front of the beast, because I don't remember. But yeah, it's just stupid because like it's not something you can keep track of, and then it's telling you as a target to keep track of it. It's not, kind of unfair to then try to refigure out who did what. Like even this situation, I don't know who attacked. It was one of these 2 people. I got 1 wound. I don't know who did it. I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know. So like I'm saying it's this person then because it's facing in front, so I'll just do that. So last to wound in range, so it's going to go forward and peck. But if it moves forward, it's probably going to center to do the peck. So that means it's probably going to do collision because I'm going to have it move 1 this way and then forward. So this person's going to get knocked back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But not knocked down because it's not bash. But it is going to get knocked back. And then it's going to move over 1 and then forward 1. Because like whereas the wing attacks, I could say, oh, you could do it from the sides. The mouth is in the center, so it would move over to do it. Okay, so Oko does get an age token, so I can put 1 age on Dreaded Decade. And then speed 2, accuracy 2. There's no nerfs currently to his speed, so it's still speed 2. And Oko does have 3 survival. Adam has no survival, but also can't spend, as a reminder, because he activated Frenzy Drink. Eve has 1 survival, and Timothy has 2. But I'm just saying survival points. Everyone, as you know, also has some strength tokens, which you can use in place of Spain's survival. As a reminder. Okay, so you rolled a 1 and a 5. Oko's evasion is 0, so that's 1 miss, 1 hit. And that's going to be to chest, and before damage, it would destroy armor, because it's the peck, but he actually doesn't do that ability, because remember, we had critically wounded his hard beak and destroyed his beak, so he can't do destroy armor mechanic. I know it's not focusing, but that's what it says. Because again, the 3 critical wounds he has is we destroyed his beak, so he can't destroy our armor before wounding with his beak. We gave him an open wound in his soft belly, so whenever he does an AI card, he has a chance of bleeding every round, which I forgot to do, which I'll do right now. And then he also has soft lower gut, persistent injury time leak, which I said prevented actually these 3 people from dying, because it's a spend action they can do before an event happens. Alright, so now I'm just going to roll, I'll chest, to see if he takes 1 automatic damage. If I roll 1. Nope. Okay, so it's 2 damage to chest, but he doesn't destroy my armor because he can't do that anymore. So it's just 2 damage to chest, which Oko could take because he has 1 armor left. So he's going to take light damage to his chest. Okay? So that's it for his AI. Now the beast is going to do his basic action. Which is a move and attack followed by Razor Wind afterwards. So he's going to pick the closest threat in range, which is still the same threat because the threat is not knocked down. And then he's going to get another age token. Now, definitely I could think when I'm playing this game, every time he did a basic action, that would have put another H token. So I might have missed some because I forgot. But again, it's a learning game. There's so many things to check and so many things to remember that I'm just bound to forget checking something. But so yeah, he gets an H. So because basically what Phoenix does is whenever he looks at somebody, you get an H token, is what it is. Before he does anything, his target gets an H token, and then he does stuff. That's basically how you get an H token, is when it looks at you. Kind of like Medusa. Ah! Alright, so he gets another H token. Where are the H tokens? So now Oko is at 2 H tokens. And then it's a speed 2, accuracy 2. Pretty much the same type of attack. So we got a 2 and a 5, so that's 1 hit. And that's to chest. So I definitely want to spend survival on that because I've already taken damage to chest. So we're going to spend a survival. So it's 3 to 2. And then, regardless, he then afterwards does Razor Wind, which is I get a bleed token. So Oko is at 4 bleeds. Normally you would die at 5 bleeds. No, actually, he can still die at 5. He has last man standing, whereas some other people have, what is it called, unconscious fighter. They can have to get 7 bleeds. So if he gets 1 more bleed, he's going to die. So he definitely needs to heal bleeds. And the person that can heal bleeds is the person with bandages, who is Timothy, who's over here. So he needs to get over here to heal the wounds. But he can only heal, is it 2 at a time or 1? He can heal 2 bleeds. Okay. So he got a bleed. That's knocked back 7 and bash, which means it's knocked down. So it's basically to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then knock down. Alright. So now that's it for the monster's turn. But yeah, for the record, I think it's very possible that I may have missed some of the... Possibly. I mean, maybe I didn't. It just, you know, the basic attacks, he does H token, and then he does the attack. So it's entirely possible. Okay, so he is newly knocked down. So he would get 2. So now it's our turn. He would still be knocked down, but these 2 come off. So we have 1 person knocked down in the back. Alright, so the monster has 3 hit points left. I definitely want to get rid of 2 AI cards at least, because that way at least it'll only just do 1 attack instead of 2 attacks every turn. For sure. And I want to try to get the H tokens off Oko, which I can do because his insanity is so high that it'll be guaranteed without triggering Spiral Age. And I also want to try to cure bleeds, because Oko can only take 4 bleeds. Okay. So, let's see here. What is the order of events? So I could pick up Oko with somebody as a survival. And then these 2 can rendezvous so it can heal bleeds. And this person could dash. So what I want to do is really kill the monster this turn. Like, it really needs to die. Because people are getting super low on survival. Like, only have 1 left and then also a strength token to spend for that. Okay, so who's going first? Okay. see here. Take these off, doesn't mean nothing. So Eve still has not hit the monster, if I recall, who's here. So I'm probably going to have that person try to deal damage to upgrade the bow. Whereas in this person I want to try to do damage. These two I want to do damage, and these two I want to have heal each other if possible. Because Timothy has bandages. And who has extra survival to spend? Oko and Timothy. These two. The thing is, like, I can't split turns. So I have to do all the move and action of one player and then move action of another player. Which means I need to have someone else pick him up. That way this guy can move as a dash and then as an action do the bandages. And then for that person's action, we'll do Dreaded Decade, which will be roll less than your insanity. His insanity is 24. So that's guaranteed. Okay, so that means who's got... Adam can't spend survival at all. So the person that has to spend survival then is Eve. So I'll have Eve go first then. Eve is going to spend 1 survival in order to encourage Oko. So now she has no survival left unless she uses a +1 strength token. So this goes away. And then she is going to try to go in for a strike. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she definitely has to dash in order to get in range to shoot. So oh, and you know what? God damn, this is what I'm talking about, messing up shit, man. Every time I spent survival on Eve, I kept forgetting that I have a 50% chance of having it regenerated. Ugh. Okay, so what does that mean? Because she has 6 survival, that means I spent 6. So what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to roll 6 times to see if I get the survival back. And whatever survival I get back, I'll add to her. Because every time I spend survival ever, I have a 50% chance of having it cost nothing. And I've spent 6 because I went from 6 to 0. So I'll roll it 6 times to see how much survival I get back. No. 1, 2, 3. So I get back 4 survival. So her survival is at 4. And that's because the bonus of the rawhide set. Yeah, I have not been doing that the entire showdown. Alright, so now she's going to move. She's going to dash as a survival and then fire her bow. So she's going to spin a survival, which I'll roll for, to see if it's free. Which it is. And that's the whole point, is this person, because it has 2 different cumbersome weapons, could dash for free, so that can move and be able to use either cumbersome weapon, which takes a movement and action to do. So she's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, because I can shoot 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then she's going to fire from there, her arrow. So the arrow, I could do the clawhead arrow or the catgut bow. I'm thinking about doing the clawhead arrow only because I haven't used it yet, and it can make it easier for everyone else to hit. But then also, it has a little bit better accuracy and more strength than the original catgut bow. So we're going to do that. So it's roll 1, and it's accuracy 6. So I hit on a 6+. And that is a 9. So that is a hit, which means I successfully did the clawhead arrow. So he gets a -1 evasion token. Meaning it's 1 easier for everybody to hit with their weapons. And now I roll for damage. So let's see, the hit location is Feathered Wing, and he does Eye of the Storm if I wound. So this could be really bad because everybody would get bash if they're not in the eye of the storm, which nobody is, meaning orthogonal centered to it, 1, 2, 3, or 4. But at least they'll get a wound in. But unfortunately, that means everybody's going to get knocked down. And what does that mean if people get knocked down? As I had stated, that means then you're not a threat, which means then he's by default going to do, what is it called? Spiral Age. Okay, but that's only if we wound. So in this case, we actually don't want to wound. Alright, so his strength is, with this weapon, is a 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Plus Monster Tooth is a 10, so it's a guaranteed hit. So it's definitely going to happen. So now the only way to avoid this reaction is by getting a critical hit, which would cancel the reaction. So her crit chance, though, is really high. So I can add to her luck just to ensure that she does get a crit. And I'm going to do. This is a great situation, because if she crits, she prevents this really bad Eye of the Storm from happening, which, ironically, I've now dodged 2 times already, because I've just missed this attack. Alright, so we're definitely going to do that. So she's going to add 2 to her luck. And she's going to gain 2 hunt experience at the end. So she's adding 2 to luck, so her chance to hit is a 5+. And then she'll gain 2 hunt experience at the end of this attack, because that's how many blue affinities she has. Because she by default adds 1 blue affinity because she's a savior, and then she has 1 blue square. That's where I'm getting that from. Okay, so it's a guaranteed hit. I'm trying to get a 5 or better to... I'm sorry, it's a guaranteed wound. I'm trying to get a 5 or better to crit. All right? God fucking damn it. I mean, that was the best odds I could do. You know, like, I did a 5. I had like a 60% chance to crit. So I rolled a 2, which is good because I wounded. So that is good. The bad thing, though, is I did not crit, because I needed to roll a 5 or better, and I rolled a 2. So what that means is the wound reaction happens. So the Phoenix blows everything away. Eye of the Storm. Like before I do a razor wind, like a wind attack, this is like it's doing a hurricane. So survivors in the Eye of the Storm gain 1 insanity, but nobody's in the Eye of the Storm. So now all survivors suffer knockback 7 and bash, regardless of where you are. So this person goes back to here and is knocked down. I'll just say goes back to here and knocked down. And then, so everybody's now knocked down. So that really like screwed everyone else out of their turns. Which is one of the good reasons why you want to have immunity to bash, like if you have the whole leather set, because that prevent bashing from happening. So now this huge wind storm happened and everyone just knocked backwards. But if you're knocked down, you cannot spend survival other than dodge. So that means they can't encourage anybody, and then no one can do a movement or an action, which sucks because that means it's the end of the turn. But he only has two hit points left. But yeah, so that's the end of this turn because no one else can do anything. Okay. All right, so now it's the monster's turn, which now there's only 1 AI card left, so we know exactly what it's going to do. It's Peck again. So he goes the last threat to wound, which in this case was the person with the bow. So at least we know Eve is going to gain a proficiency because did hit with the bow. I mean, technically she hit with the claw head arrow and not the bow, but it's a bow weapon, so I'm giving her credit for that because that's fucking stupid. The only way you can shoot the arrow is with the bow, right? So I am giving her credit for that because that's stupid. Alright, so now the monster's doing Peck, so last threat to wound, which is this person. And it's going to go in range, so if it's in range. So and it wants to go centered. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And its movement, its evasion's -1, but its movement's 8. Right? Yeah. So it's going to go up to here, turn, and then move all the way over here. And again, the monster doesn't always materialize when it moves. I know I screwed up on the very first time I moved it. They just tell you what materialize means. That way when it has cards that say materialize, you know what that does. Materialize meaning it teleports. But in this case, it's flying forward. Okay, so it's going to attack, and it has speed 2. And Eve has 4 survival. That's right, because of her regenerative rawhide. So it's a 4 and a 5. So I believe that's 2 hits. Evasion is 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to add her 2 hunt experience before I forget. And actually, she gained 2 hunt experience, and she actually goes to age 3. So actually, before this attack, I will do it. And as a reminder, I know you only do triggered milestones during the summit phase, but I don't care. I'm not doing that because, again, I don't want to be somebody else to track because I'll forget, because I already have enough things to track. And 2, it just makes sense thematically that when stuff happens, that the story stuff happens at that time as well. Like when you have an epiphany, you're not going to wait till summit phase to say, hey, I had an epiphany. It's, when it happens, when it happens. All right, so before the, this is the attack, 4 and 5. But let's do age. Age is 107. So she reached age 3. So I rolled 2 dice. I rolled 2 different dice. That's a 9 and a 5. That's a 14. 14 is gain 1 random fighting arts. So let me shuffle fighting arts right quick. We'll get to fighting arts, and then we will see what we can do about the damage. Because like the Savior's ability is sort of like what the Phoenix is doing during this fight. The fact that when she uses her abilities, she starts accelerating in age. So when you accelerated, if you like time warp in history, you're then at that new part in history, not when you go back to summit phase, because she ages immediately, right? So I mean, it's like story-wise and tracking-wise, it's the best way to do it. And that's how I'm playing the game. That's one of the reasons why I say it's a custom KDM campaign, because in a lot of ways it is. Okay, so I'm just shuffling the fighting deck right quick. I know he hit with a 4 and 5. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of things to track, so. And I've, been missing some really important stuff, like the Rawhide or Dreaded Decades. It's a lot of pieces. It is a really fun game. It just, Jesus Christ, it's like a bazillion things you have to keep track of, or remember, or checks, or. That's why I'm just trying to cut it down a little bit. That's one of the reasons why I use these tokens for their non-intended purposes, just for tracking stuff, like these for knockdown, for example, or if people took their turn, just because otherwise I may totally fucking forget what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so the fighting art she gets is Tumble. When something would collide with you, roll 1d10. On a 6+, you tumble out of the way. So whenever a would collide can potentially avoid the collision, just like the same odds of doing the rawhide if you roll 6+. Cool. So I need to record that right quick. But you can only have 3 fighting arts, so I'm getting rid of the crappy one, which is Monster Claw style. And I'll replace it with Tumble. I mean, Monster Claw style is good if you're using Fist for some reason. But for what I've seen in the game so far, using Fists is really a last resort weapon. It's kind of crappy, especially against enemies with any sort of armor whatsoever. which the trend I'm seeing is it goes up as you play the game, because as you gain stats, the enemies get harder, you know? It's like the leveling system of like any video game known to man. Okay, so this tumble. Because you can only have max 3 fighting arts, so I had to get rid of one. I'll say when collide, roll 1d10 on a 6+. On a 6+, I go to one space to avoid the collision, like I tumble out of the way and avoid. Okay, cool. So Eve learned tumble and unlearned monster claw style, which would be great because they'll help with collisions in the future. And then she was targeted, so she does get 1 more insanity, so it goes to 4. She was targeted. Actually, no, this would have moved. Nope. Nope. Of course, I think I might have just fucked up what number she was at, but this moves to Timothy. It's actually on Timothy now. Okay. A lot of pieces. Alright, so see, now that I did that, I don't have to track it. Blah. Because, like, for this, otherwise, when you mark stuff, you don't know if you had that before or if you just got it. So, I mean, let's just... unnecessary tracking for the sake of tracking. And that's why it's fun. It's like, oh, my character got older by using this arcane ability and now is like an older version of herself that has new abilities, you know? This makes sense. Okay, so we got a 4 and a 5. That's 2 hits. I don't think I rolled where the hits are yet. So that's 2 hits. To chest and the chest, so definitely Spain survival. She does have extra sense, so could definitely stop both the chests, which she will because she already has heavy damage to the chest. So she's going to spend 2 survival. So the first survival, 7. Second survival, 3. So it only costs her 1 survival to stop both damage. Okay. Oh, nope. See, I'm already playing wrong. God damn it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there's so many little things. Peck says it goes after the last threat to wound. The last threat to wound. This was the last person to wound, but it's not a threat because it was knocked down. So it's like, so hurt me, I'm gonna go hurt you. But see, this is not a threat. The last threat to wound in range. None of these are threats. So it actually wouldn't do that move at all, actually. So survival goes back up to 4, because the last threat to wound is nobody. There's no threats that wounded you. No one that wounded you is currently a threat. So that it fails that check. Which means instead it would just go here and do disdain, which is spiral age. But we'll have it still face. No, because there's no target. So, I mean, you can try, you can see, and that's what I'm going off of. Let me see if it zooms in. Come on. Anyway, it says pick target. You target either the last threat to wound, but this person, the last person wounded, but it's not a threat. So there's no threats that wounded you. These are non-threats that wounded you. So that's why I'm doing disdain. Disdain is everyone gets 1 mental damage and then it does spiral age. So everyone takes 1 damage to the brain. So Eve goes to 2. Adam goes to 4. There's no threats because everyone's knocked down. Oko goes to 23. Okay. And then Timothy goes to 2. And this says no target, you do disdain. And then a target gains an age token, but there is no target. so no one gains an age token. Okay, so now it's doing Spiral Age, which means anyone that has an age token, you gain that times 4 hunt experience. Currently, the only people with age tokens is Oko, who has 2. So he gains 8 hunt experience. So these 2 go away. So he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means he gets the age 2 and the age 3. And like I said, that means I'm doing it right now. It's like all of a sudden Oko just like went fast forward in time and is an older version of himself. Okay? And that's why I'm saying should immediately have those abilities. And that's why I'm playing the game. So, okay, so now we go to age 2 and age 3. $107. All right, so roll 2 dice. That's an 8. +1 permanent strength to Oko. So Oko goes from strength 0 to +1. So it goes from a 5 to a 6. And then we do age 3. So we got 11, which is gain 1 random fighting art. So I'm going to shuffle the fighting arts again. And then he will gain a fighting art, which currently he does have 3, so he will be gaining rid of 1. Most likely I'm probably going to get rid of last man standing, because the odds of that 1 out of 4 chance to be the last one standing, you know, it only triggers if you die last, if you're the last person, not if you die second last, so it's very situational. So that's definitely the one I'm going to get rid of. Otherwise, he has Crazed, which is good, and Extra Sense, which is good. Alright, so he gets Mighty Strike, which is +2 strength on a perfect hit. And then he already has Crazed, which is +1 sanity on a perfect hit. So whenever Oko gets a perfect hit, he gets a lot of bonuses. So I'll go ahead and add those. And then we'll continue with the monster, because the monster only did his AI. He didn't do his basic attack yet. He just did his default move, which is on the basic attack, because he didn't do Peck. So you're aware. Alright. So he learned Mighty Strike. I'll just say perfect hit +2 strength. Okay, so Oko now is all of a sudden morphed into a older version of self and has a new ability. It's like, oh shit, what just happened to me? And does have still four bleed tokens, so it definitely still has to heal, otherwise we'll still die, because if he gets 5 bleed tokens, he's gonna die. So that is still a real possibility. Okay. Put everything back. Alright, so that was Spiral Age, so now no one has any age tokens currently. That was the AI card. Now he does his basic attack, basic action, which is the close threat and range. But again, there's no threats because everybody's knocked down, which means he's going to do the stain again. And the stain means everyone gets another brain damage and then it does Spiral Age. But Spiral Age isn't going to do anything to anybody because no one has any age tokens. So he just going to do 1 mental damage to everybody. So that means Eve is now at 1 insanity, Adam is at 3. Oko is at 22. And Timothy is at 1. Okay, so now that's it for the monster's turn. Now we got to seal the deal, man. So now everyone gets back up. And I don't know if I rolled for the AI. It's a 6, so it's a miss. Okay. Okay, we got, so I need to heal and wound, because there is the remote possibility that I draw a trap card and screw up an attack, right? So I definitely want to do the healing first to play it safe. Fortunately, I don't have to waste Oko's turn on doing an attack for doing Dreaded Decade, because she now has no H tokens, which is great. So I'll do Timothy first to be safe, and I'll go one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll dash and move there in order to then use his action to heal 2 bleeds. She's going to heal 2 bleeds in Oko, so now Oko's only at 2. And then Timothy's going to spend a survival to dash. So it's at 1. Okay, so that's Timothy's turn. Now I see it going for the kill. Currently not in range with the bow, but I could dash and then shoot the bow, so that's still an option. This person can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can still attack. And Oko has movement 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's too far away and would have to spend a survival to dash to do it. Since people are low on survival, I think I'll do that last. So I'll do the people that have more sure attacks first. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As a dash. And then do I still have line of sight? To do line of sight, you go from the center of the square to the center of that square, which I can do. All right, so Eve spends a dash. Let's see if it's free. It is free. So she spent a dash, moved there, and now she's going to fire her arrow. Her regular arrow, which is Catgut Bow, which is speed 2, and it hits on a 6. Oh! Wait a minute. No, but she was knocked down. She was knocked down. She can't move anywhere. Right. I forgot. Because that's a knockdown thing. Oh no, I picked up the wrong token. No, everyone got back up. I picked up the wrong token to show that she was... That just picked up the wrong token. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything's fine. Okay, so she's going to roll 2 dice. Hits on a 6. It got a 3 and a 5, so 2 misses. So that's a bump down. And again, like I said in the last round, it says you have to use the weapon in order to get proficiency. And this is the bow, and this is the arrow. But you can't shoot the arrow unless you have a bow. So I'm giving myself credit that I used my weapon, because you can't even use the clawhead arrow unless you have a bow in your inventory, and that's how you shoot the arrow. So just so you know, like, the actual rules may be different, but that's how I'm playing the game. Either the arrow or the bow counts as using the bow, is what I'm saying. Okay, so next up, I'm going to rush in with this dude, just because I can attack center, and since he does Eye of the Storm stuff, that way I can also avoid that craziness. So we're gonna move. If I could turn back time, which I actually did with a time leak. Okay, so he's gonna move 5 spaces, which is barely enough. And again, that's Adam. So Adam has a lot of stats. He's got -1 movement, which means he couldn't do that at all, actually. So I shouldn't use him, because he has -1 movement, but +1 speed and +2 strength for modifier. So actually, that I forgot, he had -1 movement, so that would actually not be a good move, because he can't make it without dashing. And he can't spend survival, meaning he can't dash, unless he spends +1 strength. So, instead we'll do Oko, who will dash, and then spend the rest of the movement to go forward, because as much as I want to do Slam and Skewer, if I do so, it'll just be partially ajar in the tree, and then I won't be able to reach the monster. Because what he does, it's like he rams to the monster and then skewers with the spear, but after he bashes the monster into the tree, I can't then reach the monster in the tree. So I'm just going to do a dash and the move. So Oko goes to 1. And then it's going to do an attack. Oko's attack is speed 2 and hits on a 3. But with the -1 evasion, actually hits on a 4. Actually hits on a 2. Because it's got -1 evasion. Now I don't. Well, now wait. Why does he have -1 evasion? I already forgot. Oh, it's because of Clawhead Arrow. Right. Yep. Okay, so it's 3 to 9, so it's 2 hits. We got Glorious Head and Glorious Eye. Both have wounds, and both also have Rewind, which means that if you have an H token, it goes back in time like the attack never happened. But I don't have any H tokens, so it's all good. And this could be the end of the Showdown, potentially. Okay, so I'll do this one first, because if I crit, it gets -2 toughness. So we'll do that. So to hit, the strength is a 6, +1 is a 7. So 10 minus 7 is 3. So I wound on a 3, and I crit on a 10. That's a 6, so that is 1 wound. So he only has 1 hit point left, and there's no crit. And this is, if you wound, it would do Rewind, but there's no H tokens. And then I got Glorious Eye left. So again, I wound on a 3, because 7 minus 1. 10 minus 7 is 3. Wound on a 3, crit on a 10. Oh, God. This is so climatic. It's a 2. It was a total miss. So it doesn't happen. He's only got 1 hit point left. He has no AI cards. So all he can do is a basic attack or disdain. Okay, so I need to kill him this turn because I don't want people have like no survival, and I have 2 people with hell of experience, hunt experience, Oko and Eve, and Adam. So it's like I can't accumulate H tokens because if it happens, because I can only remove for free if I have 3, or with Oko as an action because his insanity is so high. So I don't want that to happen because now people could definitely die. So he needs to die this round. So what does that mean? That means I need to kill with Adam. Adam can't spend survival, but he could spend strength tokens because he could spend that in place of survival. So I'm ruling that because I'm not technically spending survival, I can do it. Which again, maybe that's incorrect, but there's nothing saying one way or the other, so it's very ambiguous. My idea here is the fact that it's not doing survival, it's going off of rage. You know, the red fist. And frenzy is all about rage, right? So he's going to spend a +1 strength token to dash. Because technically I'm not spending survival, I'm spending a strength token. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to dash. And then he's going to move and attack. Alright. So we're attacking. Hopefully this game. Speed is 3, but also has a speed token. So he rolls 4 dice, and remember he can also attack twice because he's got 2 hammers. So it's 2 separate attacks. So I can do 2 attacks with 4 dice. So I'll do the left hammer first. He's going to roll 4 dice, and he hits on a 6, but it's got -1 evasion, so he hits on a 5. And there's also a possibility that I could draw a trap card, because I've gone through so many of these. That's also possible. We'll see what happens. I hit on a 5. I got 9, 8, and 7, so that's 3 hits. Drawing 3 cards with a small deck left. I'm most likely am going to draw the trap card, but we'll see. Hope I don't. Glorious Chest, Interface, and Feathered Buttocks. Oh, wow. I actually did not draw the trap card. That's awesome. So, one of these, Interface, says Death Blow. So if that's the final wound on the monster, really crazy shit happens. So I'm definitely going to do that one first. Attempt it. Because he only has 1 hit point left. So I'm trying to kill him by bashing him in the face. And doing a death blow. The second one I'll try is Feathered Buttocks, because after I wound, it has rewind. But if I wound it, it's going to die anyway. And then Glorious Chest, if I wound it, then it does displacement. But again, if I wound it there, he'll then die anyway. So I'll do it in this order. Hopefully I get Interface. And it doesn't even mean I have to crit. It just means that if I hit him in the face as the final blow, really crazy shit happens. So we'll see if we can do it. Okay, so the strength of that attack is 3 plus 1 strength token. So that's a 4. 10 minus 4 is a 6. So on a 6 plus, I get a death blow. 6 plus, yeah, 6 plus. Aw, man, I was hoping I got the death blow. Son of a bitch. I got a 3, so nothing happens. So because the death blow didn't happen, I won't tell you what it does. So, surprise for later. Alright, so now I'm going to try Feathered Buttocks. Again, I wound on a 6. I got a 9, so we killed the Phoenix. That is a 9. The Phoenix is dead. We lived. I know as far as the mechanics, it was a little bumpy, and like I said, I still don't exactly know how to play the Nightmare tree location, and there was a slight misstep on the Age Eater as well as during a decade, but you know, I'm doing the best I can, and as far as trying to be true to mechanics, and as well as trying to be true to the immersion of what's happening. And I know there are a couple things that I do because of my custom campaign, like with the milestones. Just because, for me, it's like I said, it's easier to track and more fun with the immersion of what's currently happening. But cool, so we killed the Phoenix. So what does that mean? Let's see what happens. Alright, so now we're in the aftermath. So the first thing we do is we give everybody 1 hunt experience, but Eve gets 2 because she's a savior. So Adam gets another 1, so it's 1 away from being retired. Eve gets 2, close to being retired, meaning she'll vanish. Timothy gets 1, so goes to age 2, so we'll do that. And then Oko gets 1, and he's close to being retired. So that's another reason why I need to actually get more people in Civilization, because these people still count as part of Civilization, but they can't go out on hunts. And I have to check. I think when you're retired, you also can't do endeavors. I'll have to check that, but I believe that's true. It's just like you just don't do anything. You're just at the senior center at the settlement. But Timothy got to age 2, so we'll go ahead and do that. So we rolled. Sorry. Roll 2 dice. We got a 13, which is, what age was that? Age 2. Gain +1 permanent strength. So Timothy gets +1 strength, which is crazy, because now he's got +5 strength. Just raw stat, which is nuts. And remember, Timothy is also the person that's the Marrow Eater. So, but right now he's actually the most powerful character. As far as stats, anyway. Alright, so he aged. Everyone got hunt experience. And now we do weapon proficiency. And again, I'm ruling the fact that if I use the arrow, that counts as using the bow, because you're using the fucking bow. So everyone gains 1 proficiency if they already had a specialization. So bow gains 1, club gains 1, spear gains 1, and Qatar gains 1. So everybody gains 1. Next up, we have rewards. So it says here, the first time the Phoenix is defeated, gain the Plumery settlement location. And survivors with age tokens gain +1 understanding. No one has any age tokens, no one gets any additional understanding, but we do get the Plumery. So let me get that out and show it to you. The Plumery is like the Catarium. We got it for free for killing a certain monster, and it's all stuff unique to that monster's parts. So it's like higher level weapons and armor. They're made from Phoenix pieces. Cool, cool. And we'll look more into this during the settlement phase for sure. So we got that. And then next, we get rewards. So we get 4 basic and 4 Phoenix. And remember, we already got 1 pustules. Move this shit out of the way. We already got 1 pustules from carving. So now we get 4 other Phoenix resources. So we got small feathers, muculent droppings, tail feathers, and bird beak. And I'll show this to you in close, so don't worry. I'm just doing the initial reveal. Where are the basic resources? Other side. What's that? Alright, so because the deck's here, I don't know if this is shuffled, so let me shuffle this again right quick. But we did it. Like I said, it was rocky as far as trying to live and trying to figure out what to do, but we did it. But like I said, 3 of the 4 people, though, are really high up in age. So even though I could still use them, it's unlikely I'll use them again for fighting the Phoenix because they're a liability. Because if they get aged out once with spiral age, they're going to die. So that is the thing. Definitely when fighting the Phoenix, I've learned is, A, you want to make sure you're square-centered fighting it on whichever side. You want to make sure you're square. You want to make sure you're not in its asshole. And you want to make sure that you have high insanity, but also low hunt experience. That's what I've learned from doing this fight. Besides remembering to play the game correctly and to check everything needs to be checked, blah, 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 blah. All right, so what do we get? We got 4 basic. We got a broken lantern. We got a monster bone. We got a monster hide. I definitely prefer to have hides. I really need hides. And a monster organ. But we got some hides. But I really need a lot more hides. Alright, so let me show you what the reveal is. And then this will be the end of the stream. The rewards section of the aftermath. Alright, so this is what we got in total. Let me see if we can organize this a little bit. One sec. got some pretty stuff, some nasty stuff, and some scary stuff. That is the theme. All right. So I organized this into organs, hides, bones, and scrap. So we got a monster organ. We got pustules. The aroma is tempting. We got muculent droppings. We got a monster hide. We got small feathers. Tail feathers. A bird beak. Surprisingly toothy. Which makes sense because we did break its beak. A monster bone. And a broken lantern. Shiro, ask yourself, how did you get the broken lantern? Well, maybe the bird fed on another survivor, and in its tummy we found the remains of a lantern, right? So we got 3 organs, 3 hides, 2 bones, and a scrap. So that's a pretty good ratio. I just really need a lot of hides. But yeah, that's what we got. So it'd be interesting during the summit phase to see what out of these materials and stuff we already have in settlement we could start crafting potentially at the plumery. But we'll find out during the next video. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. I know the video before this one went a little long, but you know, there's a lot going on. You know, I lost track of time because the Phoenix was manipulating time, right? It's all the Phoenix's fault. Well, thanks for watching. Again, this is Ismortah, and I'll catch you next time.